Hello, everyone, and welcome to 2025 and our very first Champions Call of the year. Hopefully, you all had a relaxing New Year's, and if you celebrate the holidays, then hopefully you had a great holidays as well. So let's get into our content today. So, of course, this is our January 2025 Champions Call, and with any sort of a call or event from Microsoft, we have an event code of conduct. And essentially, be kind, be welcoming in this environment and creating a great environment for everyone. If you wanted to understand more of what this event code of conduct is, then make sure you check out aka.ms/code of conduct. So, our agenda today, I'm going to go over some announcements, some top Microsoft 365 updates. We do, of course, have our lovely guest speakers from the Microsoft Teams team, and we're going to be talking about the new chat and channels experience. And then, of course, we're going to have an open discussion forum where you can ask us your questions live. You can join our call, and you can also join us by asking your questions in the Microsoft Tech community. If you aren't already yet, make sure you do become a champion today at aka.ms/become a champion. And there, once you become a champion, you can also get a link to our selected resources, as well as our deck, as well as previous calls and so forth. Alrighty, so let's get into it. So, first announcement, I hope you all are so happy about it because I am super happy about it as well. We do have a new call format starting next month, starting February 2025. We're listening to your feedback. So, in previous month, when I was asking y'all to, submit your feedback on, anything what we can improve on the previous format, that was all read and taken into account. And this is how we're going to be basically merging your feedback as well as hopefully being able to expand our audience. So these Champions community calls will return to Microsoft Teams and will still be available on demand in the Microsoft Tech community. So beginning next month, our calls, whenever we do these calls live, then we're going to move these to Teams webinars, and these calls will be available on demand on the Microsoft Tech community as well as the Microsoft Community Learning YouTube channel within 48 hours after the call. So there's nothing different that you have to do. The join links are the same as you see on screen. It'll take you to the Microsoft Tech Community event page, and our community call times are exactly the same, fourth Tuesday every month at 8:05 and 5:05 Pacific time. So when you join these links starting next month, you're going to be taken to a Teams webinar link. You have to pre-register. Do make sure that you pre-register so that you can get in, and is exactly the same. We'll still have our active chat that you can engage with each other as well as with us, and you can also turn on your mics and cameras at the end for Q&A. And then for anyone that watches us on demand, it'll be on the Microsoft Community YouTube channel as well as the Microsoft Tech community. So hopefully this is the best marriage of all worlds. And of course, let us know your feedback. We do have a feedback link at the end of the call today, so for you to let us know. Alrighty. So next, SharePoint event tomorrow, January 29th. This is a very, very exciting event where it's going to be all things SharePoint on what the latest capabilities are, what the coolest things that you can do with it, as well as what are top of mind from us as a product group example. So again, if you wanted to join us at tomorrow, 9 to 10 a.m. Pacific time. You can register today at ak.ms/SharePoint event. I do have a special video from Jeff Deeper at Microsoft talking about the event. Let's go ahead and roll that now.
Hey there, Jeff Teeper from Microsoft, and I want to invite you to one of the most important SharePoint moments in our history on January 29th. You know, SharePoint has evolved to the most flexible content platform, which is more important than ever in the era of AI. And we have, over the last year, taken the user experience for SharePoint sites, documents, and more to the next level. So we're really excited to show you our latest work. All of it will be available as of the day of event for you to build your own sites and workflows and applications and agents and more. And so please join us on January 29th for this critical, exciting SharePoint event.
Alrighty. So hopefully that was exciting for you. As Jeff Teeper himself will also be part of the live event tomorrow. Again, it's very exciting. If you're a SharePoint fan, you don't know anything about SharePoint, you want to learn about how to create nice and beautiful pages, make sure you check the event out tomorrow, 9 to 10 a.m. Pacific time. Alrighty. So next, your front row seat to the future of work, the Microsoft 365 Community Conference comes back to us in Viva, Las Vegas in May 6th to 8th. So if you aren't aware already, the Microsoft 365 Community Conference in previous years was an annual conference, again, congregating all M365, Microsoft 365 lovers, experts, engineers, MVPs, executives, superfans, as well as, new people that just want to learn more about what these products are like. We'll have product announcements, we'll have product demos, we'll have tons and tons of people from the Microsoft team as well as others come. And so this is a great event where you can basically mingle, you can talk to Microsoft product leaders, as well as I believe every year they have some like cool prizes as well. Again, great conference to be a part of, and there is a limited amount of conference tickets and seats. So if you do want to join us, make sure you claim your spot at ak.ms/m365com/registration. Alrighty. So next, if we also have our new MGCI community calls. If you're not already aware of the Microsoft Global Community Initiative, is essentially a group of great people and congregated on learning about how to deliver an event, how to host an event. Of course, if you're just learning about maybe you want to take part of a local community, for example, and how to promote your event or user group, etc. This is all about all that goodness. And if you join them at ak.ms/mgci, you'll have our lovely friend Heather Cook. She is the host and the manager of that community, and every month she has a different guest speaker from either Microsoft or otherwise, talking about different aspects of event holding. So great community to be part of, and it's also free. So visit ak.ms/mgci to join them today. So adoption.microsoft.com updates. I'm going to bring on Jessie, our AMC queen, to talk to us through these release notes. Jessie, you're on mute if you're okay.
Well, that's just not very helpful.
Okay, I thought it was just me.
No, it was not you. My machine was
Okay.
muted. So happy New Year, everyone. And thanks for joining us today. A lot of updates happened in the last 2 months since the last time we talked to you all. So I'm going to do a quick rundown of these. And as always, all of these are listed in our release notes on adoption.microsoft.com. You can always go there and catch up on what's new, what just got published, what got updated, and subscribe to our RSS feed. So the big piece was we had an announcement last Wednesday of Copilot for All that's introducing Copilot chat and agents. So a lot of our assets across our enablement hub got updated. Our Copilot Success Kit has updated decks throughout the kit itself. All the guides got a little bit of a refresh. The new Copilot chat and agent starter kit launched as well. So this is a new subset of the Success Kit and more resources there for you to drive awareness, to drive skilling, and to drive usage. And then we also made a lot of updates to the user engagement templates and tools. So that got updated. The existing stuff got updated with Copilot Chat and Agent, but there's also a whole new subset of Copilot Chat and Agent resources as well there. So take a look at that. In addition, that we also launched a Copilot Promptathon, and it's a whole promptathon in a box. It's how you can organize a promptathon event for your users to skill them up on how to create great prompts, how to start great prompts for Copilot. Check those out. Those are the big updates. Customer Hub, also the Modern Work Customer Hub training sessions got an update as well. Lots of new sessions are out there now, but we also now have new filters, so it's easier to find the stuff you want. Also new topics, so also check that out. And it's not just Copilot content. We have some new Teams content out there too. A couple more new releases. We have the Clipchamp that came out. That page launched alongside agents in Microsoft 365. Check those out. There are new resources and blogs to read there. We also launched new day in the life guides for accessibility. And I know this has been a long asked for item, and we finally have finished connected with the accessibility team to get these out. And if you want to see more, we have a feedback link at the end of the call to let us know if you want more of these, but that's definitely something we're working on. And last but not least, Copilot chat and agent scenarios newly launched in the Copilot scenario library. So check those out. The one URL you need to remember is adoption.microsoft.com. That's where you find all this content. Back to you, Tiffany. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jessie. Appreciate it. It's always nice to hear from Jessie, the AMC queen, about what's going on at adoption.microsoft.com. If you haven't already, basically most things, if not all things, Microsoft can be found at adoption.microsoft.com. Either what the product is, how much it is, or how you can basically best adopt and use the product. Again, highly recommend everyone to visit that website to basically learn about things at Microsoft that you like or you could have otherwise could like later in the future, right? Anyways, so moving forward, our top Microsoft 365 updates. Microsoft Viva. Within the Viva realm, this is probably the biggest news in this, past month or so. Microsoft Viva Goals is retiring. So Viva Goals will be retired December 31st, 2025, and there's not going to be any new feature updates, starting December 5th, 2024. So, basically from now until end of year, there's not going to be any more future updates. Microsoft obviously remains fully committed to the Viva suite, and so we're going to have this be available until that date. We're still going to be continuing to innovate and deliver tools to help our customers drive meaningful business impact. So if you wanted to learn more about either the official retirement announcement, you can check out ak.ms/Viva Goals/retirement announcement. There are some commonly asked questions like, why is Viva Goals getting deprecated? Is there any sort of substitute that we would want you to have? That's all going to be outlined at ak.ms/Viva Goals/retirement FAQ. And both those websites are getting updated consistently with what we're publishing to be the most true information. So I would definitely check out those two websites if you wanted to learn more about the retirement announcement. Alrighty. So Microsoft Teams update, what's coming up next for accessibility in Teams. So in coming months, Teams will develop new features designed to enable effective collaboration for all. And this includes improvements to the Teams meeting experience. One of my favorites is allowing those to use sign language to be better recognized as active speakers and improving the overall sign language experience. In addition, you'll also be able to size down the Teams preview window much smaller than the previous minimum. So you can basically panel your window next to another window for multitasking. I myself am a multitasker. I know sometimes shame on me for that, but that's how you get work done, right? So again, very great accessible feature. You can also have more UI flexibility through resizing elements within Teams, like the meeting chat pane. This gives you more space to the meeting chat or to the video as needed, and this is also with increased responsive support for the entire Teams. So again, check out ak.ms/teams/what's new accessibility to learn more. These are just a glimpse of the upcoming accessibility, updates and features, and there's much more on there that you can check out. Copilot for OneNote. Oh, I am a diehard fan of OneNote. Nobody will pry it away from my hands. So I'm actually super happy to have Copilot for OneNote on my iPad be available. I am also an iPad user too. I like taking notes on the iPad and basically be able to, do as I will on there instead of like sheet and paper and sometimes type. I actually have a pen that I use. So again, I think it's great to have Copilot be on there and basically analyze my notes. It's very, very just productive in my mind. I know there's a lot of fans out there that use the same combination, so hopefully you can also check out using Copilot for OneNote on the Mac and iPad. Alrighty, so you can also look at ak.ms/copilot/what's new to learn more. intelligent recap in Teams for call and meet now meetings. So I personally think some of the best meetings are the impromptu meetings, or sometimes I call Jesse or I call our friend Josh and have those like 1 or 2 hour long meetings that actually are the most productive and moving our work forward. And sometimes it's also nice to catch up on what they're working on too. Previously it wasn't available, but now it is, and it's gonna, you're basically gonna have intelligent recap in Teams for call being available now. And so even when things are not scheduled in advance, calls are not special in advance, even when you have an impromptu call, you're going to be able to basically have intelligent recaps so you don't have to take notes. Intelligent recap can do so for you and sum up what you both said in that call. So this feature has already been rolling out, and yeah, and you can check out what that feature is about. If you can also look at ak.ms/copilot/what's new to learn more about this update. The new chat and channels experience. I'm very, very happy to bring on Diana Shu and Derek Snook from the Microsoft Teams team. I know the new chat and channels experience was very, very highly requested from the champion. So again, super, super happy to bring them on. And we are going to bring on Diana when she's ready. And but yes, I'm super, super happy to have this feature be available. I know it's one of the more significant updates to Teams. And again, it's just very exciting to have them. Diana, I'm going to make an introduction for her, but she is one of the faces and one of the main product managers. She is a Microsoft Teams product PM manager. And she's in charge of this feature, as well as Derek Snook from the Microsoft Teams team. They're both basically working hard at this product. I know Diana herself was the face of Microsoft Ignite, specifically for this Microsoft Teams experience. So she has a great session at Ignite. You can actually check out that at ignite.microsoft.com if you wanted to see that really in-depth, introduction and overview of that feature, of that update. So if we don't mind, let's either bring on Diana or Derek to basically come talk to us.
Yeah, happy to jump in, and we'll see if Dana can fix her camera and so on. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining today. And so we can just dig right in and cover some of the background of the new chat and channel experience and what brought us to this new experience, the journey along the way. So, Aaron, feel free to jump to the next slide, and off the limb for Diana. I hope to do her justice until she's adjusted her camera and set up, but. We'll talk a bit about the background and how we developed the idea of the new chat channel experience. So go ahead and go to the next slide, and we'll talk about just some of the opportunities, which can also be called pain points. We do a lot of research over the last several years. We talked to a lot of customers, and we get data at scale through things like the Microsoft Work Index survey. And we have seen how things have changed from especially the pandemic timeframe and post-pandemic timeframe, where we're always connected with all our different tools throughout the day, and lots of signals are coming in, but it's becoming harder to stay on top of what matters most. And then we also have found that we have an opportunity to help everybody collaborate more efficiently in teams, especially on channels, but with chats as well. We'll show you how it all comes together. But in this case, literally how we thought about bringing these two worlds of chat channels into one place. So, um, and then finally, of course, everybody's on, always connected, but feeling that you're still playing catch up. It's hard to stay focused because of a lot of noise out there. How do we help you with focus, stay on top of what matters most, and catch up on the most important things, and collaborate with everybody in your work group? So that was kind of the source of our insights. You can jump to the next slide, and we'll talk about some of the philosophy in designing a new experience. What were those design principles? The first was simple by default and powerful on demand. And this really means that we understand there's different kinds of use cases. Some people have a few chats, and maybe they're not using channels heavily yet. And then you might have a more moderate set of a bunch of channels and chats. But you go to the other side of the extreme, and you might have someone with hundreds of chats and channels events in a day that are coming into their team client. So Something has to be really easy to use by default, but allow you to manage that full power of the heavy use cases as you need it. And then we also wanted to make sure that whatever your preference is, Teams can work for you. So there's going to be powerful settings and things you can do to make always feel like Teams is adaptable. It's your Teams. And then finally, we wanted to promote more collaboration, but in fewer places. If you have fewer places to get back to for the key projects and topics, you're going to stay right on top so much more easily instead of having conversations spread out. So we will dig more into this, but I think we can switch to Diana now as well to take the next part of the presentation and dig in further. So yeah, thanks. Hey, Diana.
Hey, am I on? Okay.
Yeah. All right. You're back.
Um,
Good to see you.
I am back. Okay.
I just walked through
Great.
this section, so
So-
I think we can jump into the next part if
Next
you're ready.
slide. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you, Derek. All right, so who are we designing for? We put users at the center. So Teams has a large user base. It's got a diversity of industry segments, large variety of needs and use cases. And so based on our data, based on our research, talking to customers, some amount of intuition, we've defined different cohorts of users, different jobs to be done, and how the product can help achieve these user goals. So, the key takeaway is we are designing a solution that needs to work all the way from Daniela, the light user, the new user, all the way to someone who lives in Teams and uses it on an ongoing basis all the time, hundreds of thousands of activity going on. Next slide, please. So let's talk a little bit about chats and channels. So these are the two fundamental units of collaboration in Teams. They are both collaboration spaces, but their role is different. So chats are meant for quick, directed messages between individuals and smaller groups. There is an expectation that they are quickly spun up. They are meant to be used for a limited period of time. And this is great, one that is the communication that's going on. But overuse of chats can create siloed information between whoever was included. There's a bubble around whoever was included and everybody on the outside. And so it can fragment information when too much of collaboration is happening in group chats. While channels, on the other hand, are durable, they are managed collaboration spaces for your workplace. So these are intended to be the hub for durable shared resources, ongoing common topics or projects, and there's ongoing membership management. But these can feel cumbersome and difficult to spin up, and so users may end up defaulting to chats. And so we have kept this in mind with our solutions. So next slide, please. And so I want to reiterate that our two primary user outcomes are, one, that it's easy for you to catch up and stay on top of what matters, what's important, and that we are supporting collaboration, effective collaboration with work groups. Next slide, please. So first, I'm going to run through some of these features that are intended to reduce noise, reduce clutter. These are already generally available or they're rolling out. So I'm just going to go through these really quickly, and these are intended to help you get the signal through the noise, get a lot of the noise under control. Next slide, please. So here we've got a screen showing what you can do with notifications. And so you're able to go into settings, you're able to set in what situations you want to see certain kinds of tags, certain kinds of mentions. You can do that contextually in the moment, you can say, I want to see less of this kind of content. I don't want to see any likes, for example, notifying me. You're able to mark all as read. This is especially useful if you've come back from a trip, for example, and now you just have a bunch of notifications. You're able to mark them all as read. Next slide, please. Other functionality here, you're able to hide the general channel, you're able to archive channels, and you're able to automatically hide declined meeting chats. And so that helps get some of the meeting chat noise under control. Next slide. You are also able to go into this Teams view, and the change we've made here is that getting added to a new team does not assume that you are now interested in every single channel within that team. You can go to this team view and you're able to selectively show channels that are of interest. Next slide. Along similar lines, if you were active in a chat or in a channel, what we've done is you'll be prompted if you haven't accessed a channel for a long time, and you'll be asked if this is something that you'd like to hide. And so you don't have channels of low interest taking up space in your reel. Next slide, please. So going into the new chats and channels experience. So this is in public preview as of November 2024. It's going to be generally available as of late March 2025. So I'm going to jump right into a live demo. Let me share my screen here. And this is going to be using a demo tenant. And so I'm going to be walking through Diego's experience. And what I want to show you today is the experience that Diego will have as soon as he moves from his current experience into the new chats and channels experience. And so to start with what is familiar or what's going to remain the same for him. So Diego is going to continue to have a favorite section. And so this section is going to have both his favorite chats and channels. So anything that he had already pinned in chats or channels is going to be available here. Then right below that, he's going to see his recent chats. So these are the familiar chats to him, the chats that are available in the chat app, and they're going to be in recency order as he's familiar with. Then right below that, he has his teams and channels. And so these are going to be organized the way that he is familiar with, starting with the team and then the channels associated with that team. So that's his experience the first time he gets the update. And now I'm going to show you some of the updated functionality that's going to help Diego stay on top of his work. So I'm going to start from the top here. So you may notice these filter pills here. And so the benefit of these is that if Diego is getting started in the morning and he wants to catch up, he wants to see everything that's new for him, he can select unread. And what that does is it shows only his unread chats and channels. And so then he can click through each of these. He can see what's new, and then he can leave this state. If Diego wanted to filter by channels or by chats exclusively, he could do that. And so I've clicked on the chat filter pill, and now only the channels are available to him. So something else that he's going to be able to do now is he's going to be able to create a new custom section. And so let's name this marketing project. So the marketing project has now appeared under favorites. And now I'm going to go ahead and move digital assets into marketing project. I'm going to move copy guidelines into marketing project. And so you can see I can drag and drop. If I want marketing project below chats, I can do that. And so what I want to call out with the ability to do this to create custom sections is that instead of having your chats and channels organized by chats and channels, they are instead organized by what really matters to you during your workday. And what matters is the projects. It's the projects, it's how you personally want to group things in your head. Maybe you want to group it by people who work in a particular department. Whatever your preferences are, you're now able to have chats and channels in the same sections. You can name them as you like. You can remove this when it's no longer relevant. So there's a good amount of flexibility there. So something else that you're going to be able to do now is if you go into this app mentions section, you can see that Diego has been mentioned by Pradeep. And so this is another way to help Diego stay on top and make sure that he is paying attention to the most important information for him. So what I'm going to do now is move into our settings here. So you have a lot of ability to customize your view. So here we are in the chats and channels setting page. Here at the very top, you're able to move from chats and channels being in the same rail into a separate view. So I'm going to click on that. And now, as you can see, I now have the chat app and the Teams app separate. I also have other options here. I can turn on message previews or turn them off if I'd like to save the vertical space. I can enable or disable timestamps and a couple of other options here as well. But I'm going to move back to chats, and you can see that now message previews have been enabled. I'm seeing only the chats, and then if I go into the Teams experience, same thing, I can see my channels exclusively. So going back into the combined view here, so a couple last things I want to point out in the demo. So by default, teams and channels are going to be ordered by team and then channels. But if you would prefer, you can now display by channels only. And so what that does is it orders your channels by recency of activity, makes it easy for you to drag the different channels into other sections, and it's up to you. It's up to your preference. So the last thing is you're going to be able to very quickly jump to individual chats or channels using the keyboard shortcut Control G, and this is very fast. And what you can do is jump to digital assets web. I can do that from here. And so this is just another way to help you find what you need and stay on top. So that's the demo. So let's move back to the deck. Great. Next slide, please. Okay, so this describes what I just covered. And so don't worry, I know I went through a lot of content. And so we have a couple more slides where I'm going to speak more about what you just saw in that demo. Next slide, please. So something I want to call out here is that the demo was on desktop, but this experience is going to be optimized for every device. The new chats and channels experience is coming to Teams on iPhone, iPad, and Android. It's going to be optimized for your different sizes. You're going to be able to customize your experience with mobile or desktop specific settings, such as choosing between viewing messages organized by sections or by recency based on your preference. Next slide, please. So here we're calling out the different functionality that I went through in the demo. you're going to be able to get to what matters quickly. You have a lot of tools for that on the top. You're going to have your favorites pre-pinned at the top. Anything that you had previously pinned, chats or channels, is going to follow you into this view. You're going to be able to create custom sections to organize. Below that, you're going to have all of your chats in the familiar order. And then below that, you're going to see your teams and channels also in the same order as before, with the option to be able to change to the channels view. Next slide, please. So we have optimized for triage and navigation. You're going to be able to filter via text. You're going to be able to use the filter pills that I went through in the demo. You're going to be able to quickly triage through your personal and your tag mentions for anyone who's trying to reach you specifically. There's fast navigation, keyboarding improvements, and we have sorting options. So you're going to be able to filter by unread. You're also able to set specific sections to unread only. And so these are some of the powerful on-demand functionality that will be available for users with a lot going on in Teams. Next slide, please. So as a reminder, you will be able to switch quickly to separate chats and channels, just like in the current experience. So I'm going to talk a little bit about change management. So there are a lot of changes here, and with something that we have been very mindful about is how are we going to make this experience of using the new Rail for the first time and help users onboard, make sure that admins and end users have the documentation, the tools, and the education that they need to make sure that this is a good onboarding experience. Next slide, please. So starting with the in-Teams onboarding experience. So what the user is going to see, what you are going to see, is this view on the left here telling you that there's going to be a streamlined experience for chats, teams, and channels, a little about the functionality. And then we're going to take you through a couple of the main points that I talked about in the demo, some of the new functionality that's here. And then at the end of that experience, what you're going to see is this call out for where you can go change your settings. So for those who, for example, want message previews to be visible, or they want the separate experience and they've decided they don't want to use the unified experience, you can go directly into that menu. You can click on customize your view, and then you can actually, I think I show it in the next slide. If we can go to the next slide. So here you can see that there will be badging on the customized view. We want users to be able to get to their preferred experience. And so this was something that was important for us to make sure that we call out. Next slide, please. So here in settings, like you saw in the demo, you're going to be able to change to the separate experience, turn on your message previews, turn on or off your timestamps. So you're going to be able to do this across devices, on mobile, on desktop, and the settings can be different because we know that people can use mobile and desktop in different ways. Next slide, please. So our focus is to make sure that, is this, was there a slide in between? Sorry. Yes, okay, there we go. Our focus is to make sure that customers are ready to go on day one. So a user experience update means that admins who want clarity and end users who want simplicity and control have what they need. And so we're going to have a dedicated adoption site with documentation, including how to get teams ready. And for end users, our focus is to make it easy to get started or to customize how you work. Next slide, please. So these are links that we're going to be making available, and these are resources that are intended to help end users, champions, IT pros, admins transition and to help them make the most of the new chats and channels experience. And that's what I've got. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Diana. I know that the new chat and channels experience is highly, highly requested. So thank you so much for talking us through the experience as well as giving us a demo today. And of course, thank you, Derek, for jumping in the earlier part of the presentation early as well. Alrighty, so I have a couple slides and then we can get into our Q&A. So our upcoming community events in the month of February. Next month is very, very popular. As you can tell, there's tons of community days events upcoming. So first we have Community Days Miami that is hosted by Emily Massini. She is a great MVP. So if you're there, and it's also a very comfortable time to be in Miami. So again, highly recommend anyone to go there if you're in that area. Get CS Lat Tam in Mexico City. That one's held by Rodolfo. Is also a great MVP. Great guy, and he basically had this conference last year. It was a big hit, and so it's returning next year, this year to Mexico City. February 19th, we also have Community Day in West Michigan. February 21st, we have Community Days in DC. I actually attended the DC Community Days last year. Great event, great people hosting it, and hopefully they do one in fall, and maybe I can attend again. And of course, I've talked about earlier, May 6th to 8th, the Microsoft Community Conference in Las Vegas, Nevada. So next we can, I think the next slide is showing up on how you can join us live. So if you wanted to join us live, you can join us via the studio link on the bottom, and then and if you want to ask us questions on the Microsoft Tech community, you can also join us at that page, ak.ms/m365championcall/ask. Oh yes, this is the banner. If you wanted to join us via live stream and ask Derek or Diana your live questions, you can ask us here at ak.ms/m365championcall/ask. Alrighty, and then I think I have one more before we hop into it. Wanted to remind us all that our next call is February 25th. It will be in the new format, returning to Teams. It requires you to pre-register because it's a webinar format, but otherwise everything is exactly the same as basically how we've had it before, this change. And we will be having a deep dive into SharePoint sites and pages with the SharePoint product team. So very exciting call. Again, very excited to have everyone back. Now, we're gonna welcome Diana and Derek back on and then get into any questions.
There we go. Thanks very much. Yeah, let us know if there's any questions and what's on your mind.
Cool. So I guess we can bring up the first one while we wait. So will the ability to turn off the new chat and channel experience go away at some point?
And the way the experience works, and Dan had to walk through the onboarding sequence, right? So you're greeted with a welcome screen. You start in this combined view, but we'll tell you how to get to the settings to switch to the separate chat and Teams view. And that's a setting that is going to be around. It's the intention is that you can continue to select between the combined chat view that has chat, Teams, and channels all together, or to have separate chat and Teams views. And so you'll be able to switch between those, but in both cases, you'll still get the benefits of the new filters, the mentions view, custom sections. The pinned items migrate to favorites, and you can have up to 50 favorites compared to our earlier 15 limit for pinned. So all the stuff you get with the new experience, and you get to choose, do you want to have the combined chat app with chat, Teams, and channels in one place, or the separate chat and Teams app? So the intention is to maintain that option in the settings that you can have combined or separate.
Alrighty. And if we have another one from this morning as well, is the ability to delete the entire chat, not just a message I posted gone. I see hi, but not delete.
Yes, a great question. I can jump on this one too. So, what we found was that the delete command wasn't as clear as we'd like. We got some feedback around this. So when you delete a chat, it removes it from your view, but not from everybody else who might be in the chat. So delete seemed to maybe promise more than it was doing. So we wanted to clarify the command. So what you'll see is you can leave a chat, a group chat or a meeting chat. You can choose to leave it, and that's the name of the command. And when you do that, you'll be asked, do you want to remove the chat history from your view or not? And if you choose to keep it, you can still have the history of that context, that discussion, without being in any updates for that chat going forward. At that point, when you select the menu on that chat, you'll see an option called Remove Chat History, and it has the trash can icon, very much like you would have seen with Delete, and it will clear up your list. In the case of a one-on-one chat, you'll also have this command available right away. You can just delete it from your history, and it's a way of leaving that chat as well. So that's a successor kind of replacement of the same idea as delete, but what we hope is a little bit more clear language on what the command is going to do for you.
Alrighty. And so, what is, if I can ask Diana and Derek, if you can let us know each, what your favorite feature in the new experience is?
Yeah, that's a great question, Tiffany. So for me, I am someone who is a heavy, heavy Teams user. I have so many different chats and channels that I am keeping up with, so many different people pinging me, people I need to reach every day. And so one of the powerful on-demand features that I make use of is I will set most of my sections, the custom ones and the default ones, to show only unreads. And so what that does is it saves precious space in my rail so that the only things that are showing up for me are the ones that have new activities since I last looked at them. And so, as someone who just has so much going on, that has been a real help to be able to make sure that I am staying on top of everything.
All right. And then Derek, yours?
Yeah, great. There's a lot that I like about the new experience, of course, and I've been able to use it for a long time now in development, and as it's improved, and I can't live without it. But my favorite feature is Go To. This is something Diana showed in the demo. On Mac, you use Command G. On Windows desktop, you use Control G, and you'll go right into the search box and Go To mode. And as you type a few letters, it will quickly match to the name of a chat or people in the chat if you're using names of people, or the name of a channel, any of the above. And you can use the arrow key and enter. So you've typed a few letters, arrow key, enter. It can be really fast if you love keyboard shortcuts to jump from whatever you're doing now to any other chat or channel on your mind in just a couple of seconds. So that's been a big time saver for me and my favorite feature.
Derek, you said my favorite feature too. Before I had to spend some time to find things that I want to be like and flipping through, but now I feel like it's so much faster and like I'm not a person that saves everything. So I'm just like, where's that from X month or X person said what? And it's just so much better. So thank you, Derek and Diana. We do have a live question. I think it's from the Microsoft Tech Community. If we can bring that question up from Jay Harry. So this is very important, and I would like to present this to others. Is it possible to share the presentation so we can download it? Okay, so this is a great question. If you join us, at Harry, at ak.ms/become a champion, you can join us there. And then once you join us, you'll get an automatic email so that you can get basic or exclusive resources hidden web page. And then through that, you can download the presentation so that you can present in your own way. We actually have a lot of champions and a lot of basically members of our group that also do this. They turn our content into their own content and then basically present it to their own groups. Last question I believe that we have is the rail or sidebar within Teams icon appearing going away at some point?
Yeah, go ahead,
So I
Mary.
think this is in reference to the Teams entry point where you can access your channels. And so, no, that is not going away. We intend to continue supporting the ability for users to get into the state that they prefer, and that includes having the option to have separate chats and teams as entry points.
All right. So we have our last 5 minutes. I just wanted to take this time to thank you, Diana, and thank you, Derek, for coming on and presenting to us on the new 10 channels experience within Teams. I know this is probably one of the highest requested topics for champions, and super happy to have you both on. And again, you're welcome back anytime if there's another new feature or update that you want to present on. But again, thank you for coming on to our show today and presenting this feature, I mean, this update, sorry.
Yeah, our pleasure. Thanks so much. Love the feedback, love the
Thanks,
questions. Keep
Jackie.
it coming. And also on the community page, saw other comments there. Looking great. I saw that the M365 Community Days in Phoenix coming right up in February 21. So I'll plug
Will
that
you
for
be
you,
there,
Hal.
Derek?
No, I can't make it, but it sounds like it'll be a good time.
Yeah, thank you, Derek. Yeah, that's actually an event actually hosted by my manager, Caruana Gatimu. So that's in her home city. She lives half the time in Phoenix, half the time in Seattle. She has best of both worlds. But
That's
yes, so
nice.
she will be there. Yeah, so she'll be there to host that event herself, along with local MVPs from Phoenix as well. So it'll be a great, great event. Alrighty, well, let's wrap up. Thank you so much to you both for coming on for our call today, and thank you for watching our show today. We will see you next month on February 25th for SharePoint pages. Thank you all.